Trail once again, the book by Jerome Corsi called The Obama Nation. The book has been criticized by the Obama campaign as a series of lies, but it is still going to top the New York Times bestseller list this weekend. Yesterday, the New York Times went after the book, and today the Washington Post and Politico.com wrote about it. Meanwhile, there are reports on some liberal blogs today that the Obama campaign is prepared to launch an aggressive counterattack against the charges made in the book and against Corsi himself. And late today, we saw the first evidence of their new strategy with a statement from Obama spokesman Tommy Vietor, who said, quote, Jerome Corsi is a discredited liar who is peddling another piece of garbage in order to continue the Bush-Cheney politics he helped perpetuate 4 years ago. He is one of what will likely be many lie-filled books rushed to print this election cycle that are cobbled together from debunked internet sources to make money and advance a partisan agenda. We will forcefully respond to these smears with all means at our disposal. But what will be the end result of the battle over this book? Joining us tonight, radio talk show host on the Salem Radio Network, Hugh Hewitt, and former Democratic National Committee consultant and senior advisor to Senator Mary Landrieu, Rich Masters. Welcome you both back. Hugh, would you put a lot of credibility into somebody, one of these 9/11 truthers, to say that Bush knew, the administration knew about 9/11, and that the destruction to the World Trade Center didn't happen as we were told? Does that have a lot of credibility?
Alan, I read very carefully the Obama camp's response to the Corsi book tonight. I don't put a lot of stock in Jerome Corsi as a person, but I pay very attention to any charge that's made. And the Obama campaign has made a huge mistake tonight because they're lying about everything that they put into this book. I mean,
You're
Alan,
not answering my question. I'm asking you about the 9/11 truthers.
I'm getting to it. I'm getting
would
to
you
it.
put a lot of credibility into those
Alan,
people?
I'm getting to it. Jerome Corsi wrote in his book about Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dorn, and the Obama campaign's response is to assert that Ayers and Dorn are members of the establishment with ties to the mayor. He wrote at length about Tony Resco finding the house
question.
for
Let me go to Rich Masters, because you're not answering my question.
I read the Obama campaign. I'm giving you exactly what the Obama campaign said.
Here's a guy, Rich Masters, that claims that there's an infinite resources available for oil. He claims that, Bush knew. He's been in bed with these 9/11 truthers. He quotes them. He's made a whole number of claims that lack credibility. Why should we believe him now?
We absolutely shouldn't believe him, Alan. I'll answer your question directly. I mean, the truth of it is, even conservatives have said that this guy is a plagiarist and a liar. And, more importantly, I mean, let's look at some of the other things he has said. As a Catholic, Jerome Corsi has said that the Pope John Paul II, a hero, a man who almost single-handedly by himself brought down communism, he called John Paul II, he said he was a senile old pedophile. How can we put any credibility in what this guy has to say whatsoever? It's incredibly important that we talk about this.
Why would anybody who made all these statements be credible?
I put a lot of credibility in David Freddoso, whose book is out as well. I put a lot of credibility in my own book, Letter to a Young Obama Supporter. The key is the charges, not the person making them. Are the charges true, Alan? You're trying to divert attention from the Resco scandal. You're trying to divert attention from the fact that today the Obama campaign called Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dorn mainstream members of the establishment with ties to the mayor.
We're talking about the book here, guy. Let's talk about this book, frankly. Come on now. I mean, we're talking about a book here.
We're talking about the Obama campaign's response.
I think that's great.
You can't talk about the book and let's talk about the campaign's material.
One at a time.
This is the Obama campaign's material.
If somebody writes a book, the credibility of that person and historically the things they have said and whether they are real or true should not have any bearing on whether or not we accept the things that person then puts in a book.
Of course it should, as should the credibility of the Obama campaign when they respond to this book and they distort and they lie. And I think they've made a huge mistake. I want everyone in America to get a hold of the Obama campaign's response and to read through the 8 pages on Tony Resco that they put out, to read through the pages they put through on Bill Ayers. They have made a huge miscalculation, Alan, by not taking on the substance
of the book. We've already seen in the book. He was wrong about a sermon that Barack Obama attended. He got the date wrong. He was wrong about the dedication of the book. He was wrong about Obama saying that he stopped using drugs. He was not truthful about that. He was wrong about a number of things in the book. There have been a number of things in that book that have been discredited.
That's not what they said back. I've got that charge right here. They provided a detailed response to Corsi asking the question about whether or not Barack Obama has ever answered the question of whether he dealt drugs. They never answered that question. Instead, they made up an idea that Obama has repeatedly said he stopped using drugs. So when you're going to go after the credibility of someone, and Corsi's got huge problems, I'm not denying that,
right, Rich,
you've got to be responsive to the charges.
Hugh and Rich, let's go one at a time so our audience can hear. I want to focus on one thing and one thing only. Now, Rich, I understand you want to attack the messenger. That's fair. Jerome Corsi is not running for the most important job in the world. That would be Barack Obama. Here's the issue. If you're concerned about the credibility, associations, things that Jerome Corsi says, are you not more concerned about his friendship, meaning Barack Obama's, with Wright, who said, GD America, chickens coming home to roost, with Ayers, who admits to bombing our Pentagon and Capitol, with Tony Resco and this land deal that they have together, with Father Flager, his 20-year friend and best friend of Louis Farrakhan. I would think that you'd be more concerned about those associations.
Listen, I'm very concerned about those, and guess what? Barack Obama has not only disassociated himself, he has called all of the remarks of these folks completely and utterly repugnant. And, you know, the truth of it is, we can bring up all of this stuff. At the end of the day, what we're talking about here is, you know, there's a lot of people that want to learn a lot about Barack Obama right now. And what I'm concerned about is if people are going to pick up this garbage, this trash, this false stuff by an author who is discredited on both the left and the right,
record. You said that 4 times, Rich. I don't really want to hear it anymore. Let me go to Hugh Hewitt. Here's the issue. If you're friends with the guy that bombed the Pentagon and the Capitol, if you're friends with the guy that says GD America, if you show up on your... Excuse me, Rich. Excuse me. He said he was friendly with Ayers. His spiritual mentor was Reverend Wright. These are his words, not mine. He was friendly for 20 years with Father Flager, and we know that he had a great land deal with Resco. So I'm more concerned, Hugh Hewitt, about the radical associations and friendships of Barack Obama, the guy that would be president. I think that's what we ought to focus our attention on, and whether or not those things are true.
I wanted to find out how the Obama campaign would respond to these very serious problems. As recently as November of '07, Bill Ayers was calling the United States a fascist country. And so I wanted to see, since Corsi wrote about this, and I know Corsi's got problems, so do you, but I wanted to see how did the Obama campaign respond to these charges. And they have responded by distorting.
He knew Bill Ayers.
Rich, let him finish his sentence,
No, he knew Bill Ayers
please.
a lot sooner than that, Rich. That's a lie. He served on the board of the Woods Foundation. It is a lie that he served with him 40 years ago. He served on the board of the Woods Foundation with him about 6 years ago. You should check your facts.
All right, let me ask Rich a final question about that. Rich, would you ever serve on the board with a guy that bombed the Pentagon, the Capitol, New York City Police Headquarters, and would you give speeches with a guy that was unrepentant about doing that and being at war with America? Would you do that yourself?
Listen, Barack Obama was...
I didn't ask you that, Rich. I asked if you would sit on a board with a guy that bombed the Pentagon and was not sorry about it.
If someone brought that to my attention and it was absolutely front and center as to whether I decided I was going to go on a board or not, absolutely. But that's not what Barack Obama did here.
Actually, it is.
Come on, Sean.
Actually,
no, it's absolutely not what it is,
Actually, it is what he did. Because he knocked on his door and he said, I really want your support. And everybody knew who Bernardine Dorn and Ayers was.
That's not the way it unfolded.
Actually, it is. You're wrong. All right, coming up, the Joel Lieberman.
Higher turnout and winning elections that way. I believe in winning the swing voter, the independent, who can go either way. And that's why I supported McCain in the first place, because I thought that he had a capacity, along with Rudy, to do that Romney and the others did not.
Right.
There could be nothing more dramatic than for him to be the first president, first candidate, since Abraham Lincoln, to reach across the party divide and put someone from the other party on his ticket. Now, you're not going to have consistency in a lot of Republican choices. If he chooses Ridge, Ridge is pro-choice. But I think that fundamentally it would be a statement that we are going to listen to each other in Washington, we're going to transcend partisan differences, and we're going to work together. And by the way, it's so funny, these two guys, neither of whom have a drop of charisma, McCain and Lieberman, the whole together would be charismatic as anything.
All right, well, I can see you're all excited about it, but triangulation is your game. Polling is how you come to decisions. I believe in core values and principles should be guiding decisions, and that's how